Science channels are kind of infamous for droning on all the time, and here at Black Hills Institute we kind of pride ourselves on only doing that every once in a while. But today we can't really avoid it because today we are talking about drones. Now drones are very cool and they're becoming more and more popular, but you're thinking to yourself, aren't you guys a paleontology channel? Why do you have drones? Well, as you'll see in a minute here, there's actually a very good application for them in the field. And to talk about that, I have my friend and coworker, John Wente, who is the orders specialist here. Is that right, John?
That is correct. Thank you, Hunter. Yes, but I also am a remote pilot.
Before we get too deep into the drones, John, tell us a little bit about yourself.
I have a background in aviation. I have a private pilot certificate and also have a remote pilot certificate. And what a remote pilot is a professional drone pilot. Part 107 of the Code of Federal Regulations with the FAA, and it allows me to fly drone professionally, so I can get paid for it, which is pretty cool. There's also another type of drone flying called recreational flyers, and they cannot get paid to fly, but they get to have a lot of fun too with drones. You don't have to have a private pilot certificate to have a remote pilot certificate, but it does help a lot with learning with before you take the written test for a remote pilot certificate. However, if you do not have a private pilot certificate or any pilot certificate before getting a remote pilot certificate, I would recommend going through an online course because there is a lot of in-depth things that you have to learn and know to take the written test. And I'm also a member of the AOPA, Aircraft Owners and Pilots Association, and a lifetime member of the South Dakota Pilots Association. But that's enough about me.
So John, you are definitely a very qualified person to talk about this, which is why I invited you on today. Just so you guys know, John is the first guest we've ever had who has written up the questions for me, which is awesome, because a lot of this does not make sense to me. So John, following your question here, what should people know first about drones before they do anything?
First, they should probably go to the FAA Drone Zone website, which we will provide a link in our YouTube channel. And you go there and it'll give you all the information you need to know whether you're going to fly commercially or recreationally. It'll give you the guides and steps to what you have to do to obtain both certificates. Recreational flyers also have to have a certificate as well. It's free. You can do it online and it takes maybe about 30 minutes at the most. And it's called Trust Certificate. It allows, it kind of overviews the rules for flying drone. Not quite as much as with a remote pilot, but you know, the most common rules. Whereas a Part 107 remote pilot, which is what I am as well, it's a lot more in depth of what you can and can't do. And you also can get waivers for flying in certain airspaces. You can get waivers for flying your drone at different altitudes. There's a bunch of other kinds of waivers you can get, whereas recreational flyers typically are only reduced to getting waivers for their certain airspaces. But the FAA Drone Zone website has all that information, has great links to all that kind of stuff, great resource. And it's also the site where you can get your drone registered. All Part 107 remote pilots have to have their drone registered, no matter what the size or weight is. Whereas recreational flyers, if the drone is over 0.55 pounds, they have to register it. But the good thing with that is they can have multiple drones and have the same registration for all of those. Whereas a Part 107 remote pilot has to have each drone registered.
All right, it's very interesting, John. I was also about to ask about Part 107, not just because you wrote it down for me to ask about it, but so you are going to fly a drone for us here, right? You're going to show some footage of it?
Yes. I will do a little demonstration flight here after a bit and kind of go through what I do to get it ready, get it prepped, what I'm doing when I'm taking off, what I'm doing while I'm flying it, and what I'm doing when I'm landing. I'll go through that a bit too to show kind of a checklist. You can create your own checklist if you want, as long as it kind of covers the basics.
So John, this is BHI's drone, is that correct?
That is correct, yes. It is an Anzu Robotics Raptor, and it is a DJI clone. It looks very similar to a DJI drone that they cloned from, but it is based here in America. It is the company is based in Texas. And this particular drone is used for photogrammetry, which is used for making maps and stuff like that with it. And I can tell you a little bit more of the specs on it. However,
Yes.
I'm going to need my sheet back here so I can read off a bit of the specs here for our viewers.
What do you mean you don't have those like 1,000 numbers memorized by heart?
Oh, goodness. I got all right. So first off, it's got a mechanical shutter, which makes it so it's distortion-free and crisp images, which it definitely does. It has an RTK module on the top. That's what this little gizmo is on top, and that is for high accuracy positioning with GPS and ground-based instruments. A lot of surveyors use this when they're surveying. It's got extended flight time, 45 minutes for each battery. And this particular drone, we actually have 3 extra batteries to go along with the battery that came with it. So lots of flying, lots of flying. It's got a high resolution camera, 20 megapixel wide angle camera. Zoom capability is 56 times hybrid zoom, and I have used that. One of the times I was with you in the field out in Nebraska, and I tested out the zoom, and I was able to zoom right in on a fossil that you were working on. It was pretty cool.
It's worth noting, I did not know I was being filmed. That's how far away the drone was.
The drone was up to 400 feet, AGL, above ground level,
I
sorry.
heard some buzzing, but I thought it was a bee.
Yeah, it sounds like a hive of bees, that's for sure. When I was talking about photogrammetry, it is the science of making measurements from photographs to create 3D models and maps. So it takes a whole bunch of pictures, you put it on a grid pattern, kind of like when you're mowing your lawn, you're kind of going in a pattern. Well, this does the same kind of concept. It'll fly back and forth in different rows, and it'll take pictures, snap a whole bunch of pictures as it's going along. And then it takes all those pictures, and then I upload those pictures to our cloud. And when we get back to the office here at BHI, we put together all those pictures, all that data, and then we create a map. And it looks just like as if you're there. It's very highly detailed, right down to a little bit of rock, and this makes it great for actually searching for fossils virtually. It allows paleontologists to identify potential sites. It helps researchers more accurately date fossils, prospect for new ones. I mean, you could see the different horizons and stuff. It'll really pick that out. And it's a great tool, I think, in paleontology. And I'm really happy I get to do something like this. This is a great fun job when I get out there in the field and fly this drone. A lot of fun, and I learned some things too as well.
All right, so that was awesome, John. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I think you have a surprise for the viewers, don't you? You are going to go fly this, right?
I plan,
Weather
yep.
permitting.
Yep. So far, skies are nice and sunny and clear, and yes, later on here we'll do a demonstration flight and kind of go through what kind of a checklist and what I'm doing while I'm flying it and what I'm doing while I'm landing it.
Here we are outside at an undisclosed location, which is very easy to figure out probably. And we have permission to fly here, don't we, John?
We do, that is correct, yes. It's always good to know where you're going to take off and land at to make sure that you have the right to do so. Certain places like private property, obviously you need permission. Forest Service, generally you don't need permission to take off or land there. It's public land. National Park, however, you're going to need permission and fill out some paperwork. Yep, right here at this spot we have permission to take off and land with the drone.
We're going to show you guys what that looks like, the whole setup process, some cool footage. John, you will notice it is slightly windy today. Is that impacting it?
No, this is a pretty light wind here. Actually nice, mostly clear sky here. I got a few clouds here blocking the sun, but no, it's actually a perfect time to fly the drone. Nothing too terrible. The drone can withstand winds up to about 30 miles per hour, I do believe.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
Well, John, I will stand out of your way, and I'm going to let you do this. So
all right.
Here's John.
We'll get this set up. This is our lovely landing pad. It just kind of keeps the dust from flying up when we're taking off, and any blade of grass to kind of keep that down from so the props don't hit and mow the grass. This is our wonderful case here for what the drone is in. As you can see, it has the Raptor on there, and it has our nice logo on the front. And inside, it's pretty nice and kept in place, pretty safe, nice padded, very compact, very easy to carry out in the field. So the drone is as folded. You guys got to see it when it was unfolded. This is how compact it gets when it is folded. And it just unfolds just like that. And then I get the battery. Now, before I install the battery, I check to make sure that there's no bulging or anything that looks out of the ordinary. These are lithium batteries, and over time they can deteriorate, they can malfunction. So I just kind of, one of my pre-flight things, the very first thing I do is I always check the battery. And then it just goes in, clicks, and then I kind of give the drone a good look over, make sure everything looks as it should, make sure things are not loose. And one other thing I want to add is the most important things before you fly, whether you're flying recreationally or commercially, is I have my remote pilot certificate and the registration for the drone. These are the two main things you got to have before you start flying. So under here we have, I have the props. They fold up real nice, very handy. Before I put the props on, I always inspect them to make sure there's no cracks, no major divots in them, because that can affect the flight and cause abnormal behavior with the flying, which we would not want. Also, just a note here, with most of these drones that you have to put the props on, they'll have like a color coded, so you know where to put the props, because it does matter on most drones where you're going to put the props. So this one has a little gray circle, this does not. And it correlates to what the drone has with the gray there and no gray there. And these are pretty simple for putting on. So black on black is what I always tell myself, and they just go in and snap. Gray on gray. I always say it out loud kind of to myself, so I make sure I'm paying attention that I'm doing it right. So again, I kind of do just a little inspection, make sure everything looks good on the props. Okay, black on black. Okay, gray on gray. And then just kind of do another check. Make sure these are on good. And then they just fold out. That cleared out here. Oops. There we go. Now, also, I want to explain that before I would even get this set up, before I even get the drone out, I usually go through and check the weather, see what forecast is going to be, what the current conditions are, if the wind's going to change. I also check for airspace restrictions. There's things called TFRs, which are temporary flight restrictions, and that affects all pilots, whether you're unmanned or manned, with like airplanes and helicopters. Also check for NOTAMs, notice the airmen. Those are just kind of information for pilots to know if there's anything going on in the area, blasting, or there's going to be a show or something like that. It's just always good to kind of check your airspace restrictions first before you fly, so you don't get dinged by the FAA. All right, so we got everything pre-flight checked. We got our airspace checked out. We're all in the clear there. Weather looks great. I'm going to go ahead and get this turned on and get ready to go. So I first turn on the controller. Give it a moment to boot up here, and then I'll turn on the drone. Okay.
Five minutes later.
There we go. Now I got my GPS. Okay. So we got good connection. We got good connection between the remote and the drone. That's very important. Now, the other thing too, before I even get it started, I look around, check out the obstacles that are in the area. We have some power lines here. Of course, we got some vehicles here. And I have Hunter here, my cameraman. Just kind of survey the area for any potential risk or dangers. And we're all good to go. So I'm going to back up here a minute. I look around, and then I yell out, clear. I do that in case anybody's walking by, and just let them know, hey, we're going to be starting this thing up. And I just kind of give it a second or two to kind of get warmed up here. And then we'll start takeoff. And I just take it nice and easy. And before I even do anything else, I do what I call a flight check. Make sure the controls are good. Go side to side. I go up or forward and backwards. And then I go up and down just to make sure the controls are still good. Then go ahead and just get her up. And that is how you fly a drone.
That was awesome, John. That was really cool. I've seen you do it like 10 times now, but it's cool every time. So, of course, drones are relatively new, especially in paleontology, right? Where do you see the future of drones going? Is it going to keep growing at the rate it's going, or what do you think?
I think so. There is a new technology, fairly new technology called GPR, which stands for ground penetrating radar. Right now it's kind of in its infancy a bit, but it is improving. So GPR is a geophysical survey method that uses pulses of electromagnetic radiation to image below the ground surface. So what that all basically just means is it takes a picture of what's under the ground. It uses like radar to bounce off and gives you the different densities that are in the ground. So if you have like a void, an empty space, an underground cave, for instance, it'll pick that out versus having just solid ground. It is a non-intrusive and non-destructive method of surveying the subsurface. So you don't have to dig to get the information. You can just fly right over, or they even have a ground unit that you can push, and it'll just give you all your data that way. It is a potential for identifying fossils by creating subsurface maps that highlight density differences caused by fossilized remains. So basically it's going to kind of, when the technology gets there, it can tell you the difference. There's something that's there that's different from the rest of the underground. It'll be like, oh, that looks like that could be a potential fossil there. And that, I think, would just speed up the process of finding fossils. So kind of help at least pinpoint better.
Make it way easier.
Make it way easier and less footwork for, looking for fossils. So it'll kind of speed the process up more.
That's really cool, John. Do you have any last minute advice for people who want to get into drones or are interested or anything like that?
Just be sure to look up the FAA Drone Zone website. That's a great start. It'll give you lots of valuable information to properly get you to flying drones. Drones are fun to fly recreationally too. They're a lot of fun, and that's also pretty cool to get paid to fly drones. So that's another option as well.
But that is where we're going to end this here, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. But before we go, we are going to show you some beautiful footage that John captured himself with his drone with public domain music playing in the background. Thank you guys very much.
Enjoy.